What is up, guys? Major here. I just wanted to let you guys know, obviously I posted a video about a week and a half ago. I just want you guys to know that I will be trying to post a video at least every week. I actually thought that I was going to play or make more videos about the league system as we're coming in. Unfortunately, that is not going to happen. As we all know, I'm sure you guys have seen the league system. The only real thing that's happening with the league system is the fact that we get HP boosts, which you would think that would change up the meta or switch it up a little bit, but not really. There's a few things happening that make arena really annoying to play, right? So you'll see that I'm actually diamond 2, and this is diamond 2 as in I do the tickets that I see and I don't do the ones I don't see. You see what I'm saying? But I'm still building my account for RTA. That's the thing, right? So I'm basically collecting all the characters. I'm leveling up every single character to 100 just in case a character is gonna get a buff. So right now my lowest characters are 60. I'm only missing these 4. Collecting every character that I can, especially the ones that seem viable in PvP in some way. This is a PvP account and it should be viable for PvP. The PvE that I do is just circumstantial. Now, what I actually want to touch on this video though, because I don't want to waste too much of your time, as you must have seen on the title, is priority. So what happens when it comes to priority? So I think this is important. Not so right now. So I'm actually thinking the reason I thought about releasing this video, or actually making this video now, is because I'm noticing that a lot of people are playing they're playing a lot of stall meta. Stall meta is cool, it's fine, but stall meta has nothing to do with priority. So when it comes to speed tuning and things like that, it doesn't really emphasize it too much. So a lot of people are building really bad gear, right? So it's really tanky gear, it's really good for the tanky stats, but a lot of people are extremely slow. So I have a bit of a sheet that I want to kind of go through. We can do some arena poll, not arena polls. We can do some arena fights at the end of this, just to play around here a little bit, just to enjoy it a little bit. But I actually want to come into a sheet that I prepared. Hopefully this is not going to be too boring for you guys. Here we go. So this is the sheet that we are talking about here. This is what I would this is my priority sheet. So it's basically through rigorous testing that I've done throughout playing the game. Just what I have observed. Jeez, it's like, what time is it? It's almost 12 o'clock at night. Jeez, I'm tired. I'm sorry. I just came back from work. It's tough, but I thought, you know what, let me do the video, get some stress out and enjoy. So yeah, so this is basically the sheet that I was doing. This is the summary version. Obviously there's like a bunch of other stuff where I was tracking numbers and things like that, but very informally. But this is where I sort of put everything together, and I sort of put down my recommended speed ranges with regards to speed tuning, just because I understand that a lot of people actually have no idea what they should even be aiming for. Now there's something that changed with the new system. Let me just quickly switch to that. If you just quickly check on your, not here. Obviously we know that there was a new system introduced. I'll just check it with her. Not her actually, let's do it with her. The upgrade system, right? So this upgrade system here, you'll notice that we can start upgrading our characters after level 100. So there's a new slot to upgrade. Not every character gets speed, so the attack damage dealers don't get speed, but some of them will get speed. Some of the ones that will get speed are characters, say like Eternal, who is a enchanter. So when she upgrades, she'll get like additional speed, right? That's something worth noting. So it doesn't change too much, because ultimately the general recommendations are still about the same, which you can switch back to the sheet here. It's still the same, right? Because all it's really doing, it's the defenders, the slower characters that in the game just got a speed buff. That's all that really happened. All the slow characters in the game got a slight speed buff, so it's a lot easier to actually hit these numbers now. And mind you, I made these numbers well before the update. But in any case, let's talk to what this is. How would you want to speed tune? Let's talk about some recommended speed ranges before we start, and then we'll start talking about the RNG priority roles and things like that. I know a lot of you guys have been facing it but have no idea what that it's all about. I'm sure a lot of you guys haven't been facing it recently, simply because of the meta that's sitting right now, because you guys are not focused on speed whatsoever. You're building very tanky, very beefy teams, which is cool, but I think this is still important. This should be timeless by the way it's set up. So essentially, recommended speed ranges, we have our openers, our bridges. Our openers and bridges are characters that effectively want to go first. They have to go first. These will apply some kind of buff to your team that's going to be beneficial. These are going to either these are your openers. Your bridges are the kind of characters that will pull your team forward, so they'll give a priority pull push, right? So they're either gonna pull your team forward or push the enemy team back, right? So think about it as if it's think about it as like how would you think about it? Like a rope. Your bridges they have a rope and they're pulling your team forward so that they can act, and then they can also drop the rope that the enemy team has, if that makes sense. It's probably the worst analogy you've ever heard in your life, but it's damn near 12 o'clock at night and I'm tired. Those guys, you generally want them to be around 280 speed plus, right? So it's 280 to 300 speed, 280 to 300 plus, right? You don't have to go too much with this, right? So there's very few characters that actually need to be at 300 speed or more, because remember, you have to balance out the stats along with the speed, right? So if you have god rolls on your gear, for sure you could have more than 300 speed, but realistically you generally don't want characters that are at 300 speed, because that's gonna mess up your speed tuning, and we'll get to that a little bit later. The next ones that are recommended, oh sorry, I also have to preface this video, this might be a long video. I'm not going to edit anything, right? So this might be a slightly long video. I hope you guys can watch it till the end. I may produce bite-sized chunks later on, but hopefully you guys can consume this one as is, as a whole. In any case, we have the speed contesters and bridges, as well as cleavers. So here we sitting at around 260 speed to around 280 speed. You'll notice that this is where you have your cleavers, right? So these are characters who want to go before the enemy damage dealer and deal a massive amount of damage to the enemy team, but they are generally squishy in nature. So the only way they can fight is by being faster than the enemy damage dealer. Right, so that's what cleavers are. They usually AoE. So they usually AoE. 1 second. I'm just checking something here. Okay, so these characters are usually AoE in nature. They can also be single target, but single target is not really. You can't really consider a single target character a cleaver. They're more of a nuke character. It's a nuker. Right, they nuke a single character to kill them, but that cleavers is more for team cleaving, right? So this is quick, fast. You're getting rid of the team really quickly. 1 or 2 turns is what we're talking about here. And again, you still have your bridges. These are your slower side bridges, right? We mentioned them earlier. Speed contesters are characters that can contest the speed of the enemy team, right? So if the enemy team is fast, having characters here can contest that. For instance, you could have characters that either can cut in between faster units, or characters that are gonna be sitting here, and based on the RNG priority rolls, they can contest speed with a 300 speed unit, even though they themselves are not 300 speed. That's what speed contesters mean. They mean based on RNG rolls, you could go before the 300 speed characters. We'll talk about that as well. You'll actually see how that works down here as well. Mid speed, which is mid speed high damage dealers, are in that 240 to 260 range. This is where you don't have too much speed. You fast, but you're not too fast as a damage dealer, but you focused on getting a lot of damage. Now getting to 260 speed already can be kind of difficult. Right? So this is but also getting beyond 260 speed is a lot harder as well. So if you focused on a lot of damage, a lot of crit chance, crit damage, a lot of attack, this is the type of characters that are here. We're talking characters that are almost 4,000 in attack. We're talking characters that have over 230, 240 crit damage, 250 crit damage. We're talking characters that have 50% crit chance or more. That's what we're talking about in this state, where they are really heavy on the damage and their speed is really the resource that's taken away for that damage to exist. These characters in general are going to be pulled up priority wise by your bridges, right? So characters here will get pushed up in priority by your bridges. So making them high damage dealing is actually fantastic for these characters, right? And then we have speed bruisers, tanks, and supports. This is your 200 speed to about 240 speed. This one is a little harder to calculate, or not to calculate, but to wrap your head around as to which characters are which. But characters are all different. I can give you an example here. A speed bruiser, tank, or support in this particular case. A speed tank that we have in the game, most recognizable, would be something like a Veronica. She wants to be fast. She's a speed tank. She offers a buff in damage mitigation. In other words, if you can have a speedy bruiser at 240, a Veronica at 240, right, at max speed for a speed bruiser, right, that means that if you can pull her up based on speed RNG, it's possible that she goes before these mid-speed high damage dealers here at the top ring here, and she can give your team that damage mitigation in the defense buff, as well as removing a buff from the characters themselves before they get to attack and do a devastating amount of damage to you. That's the whole point. It's characters who have beneficial supporting elements to them, and they technically want to go first, but they have such low speed that they can never go first, but they're also really tanky and they generally do some supporting things. They want to be here. And then after that, again, supports is about the same thing. We obviously can't, I can attach characters to this, but then we're just gonna bog down the video with like a lot of different characters, and I want this video to be a little bit more timeless. As they release more characters, I still want this video to be relevant, you know? So here we have slow bruisers, tanks, supports. One of the easiest ones, again, here we can put a simple one because I believe these characters are going to be timeless. We have your Domiak Stella, right? So she's a slow bruiser. She's a slow character. She doesn't need to be super fast. But see, here's the difference though. I say she's a slow bruiser, but look at the recommended speed ranges. We're still talking about 160 to 200 speed. When we're talking about arena, your characters cannot be slower than 160 speed. 160 speed is about as low as you should take them, right? So they're passing at 150. You can get away with it. You can get away with 140, but it's not ideal. Ideally, you want to get that up to about 160 minimum. That's really hard to do, by the way, because a lot of these characters down here really don't like speed and they don't want it, but you really need to give it to them, right? Otherwise, they could get lapped for days and get killed before they get to do anything. The only saving grace for, say, somebody like Domiak Stella, is the fact that she counters and she has a revenge, right? So between her counter set, evasion sets, her revenge, when she gets debuffed, she gets to go regardless of her speed. But ideally, you still want her to be at 160 so that she can actually build up her ultimate. But that's neither here nor there. We can get to that kind of stuff in other videos. Right now, we are going to be looking at the RNG priority roles, the insanity that comes with it. Now, granted, this is now, I hope you guys are still good. and you know you're still fresh mentally, you can absorb this information that I'm about to give you. If you're not, it's cool. Pause the video, go make a cup of coffee, go make a cup of tea. If you don't drink coffee, go grab a glass of water. You know, just get ready, because this stuff is kind of crazy. And hopefully this list isn't boring you too much. Let me pop by so we can see Veronica for a second. Let's just see them, you know. Let's absorb the kawaii, you know, and just absorb all the cuteness there. All right, are you guys back? All right, cool. Now let's get back to the nerdy things. Okay, here we go. RNG priority roll. This is insane. So the game classifies it as -2% and 5% on a priority roll. Here's the thing though, when testing, you actually notice the approximation to be around -5 on the minimum end, and on the maximum end it's about 9%. And now these are approximations through months of testing since the game came out, since I was doing arena and all that. Every single match that I play, I always look at these values, and these are the actual approximations over just testing throughout that entire time, right? So about -5 on the negative and 9% towards the positive. Now these are likely and now this is bro science again, this is just what I've been seeing, just in general what I've experienced. These seem more to be, and this is what the game shows it as, by the way. The game, if you look at it, it will tell you that the RNG priority roll is -2% and 5%, right? It's between that variation there. I think this is the chance to roll up or down. I think there's a -2% chance, or rather a 2% chance for it to roll down and a 5% chance for it to roll up. But more often than not, you're staying around the initial priority or rolling up. It's very rare that you roll down, though you can roll down. But when you do roll down, I think you're rolling throughout a variance of about 5%. And when you're rolling up a variance of about 9%. That's the crazy thing. That's what that's the approximations that I've been having, right? Now, obviously, we're still gonna test this, and I'm still gonna test this moving forward. If something does change, I will let you know. If there's something that I'm not understanding or I saw it wrong, I will let you guys know. I'll make an update to the video. But as far as I know, this is as accurate as I could get it. You guys can test it yourself and see how you guys fit. So here on this thing, we have a couple units, right? So we have just like your team, which is basically 4 units, and then I just put like a mock enemy team speed here, which is just in general. Say you have one unit that's at 300 speed, right? That's their speed. So and then this is in comparison, by the way, to the enemy team. So it's not just 300 speed randomly and you have 100. It's in comparison. For instance, if the enemy team had the fastest unit was 315 speed, your initial priority would only be 95%, right? So that's the thing. Whoever has the highest speed, if you look at a bar, right? If we assume that that's a bar, this is the start, this is the finish line over here. Whoever has the highest speed will get to the finish line faster. So if 300 speed is here and 315 is here, 315 will likely get to the finish line faster. But if both of you have 300 speed, both of you have equal opportunity to get to the finish line at the exact same time, plus minus the RNG rolls of it, right? So it's not as if that there's a specific speed that starts you at 100. It's the higher the speed is, it starts you further along the line, but you still have to travel towards the end of the line to take your turn. It just looks like they're taking the first turn immediately, but none of them actually do. Everybody actually starts off the game slightly below the turn bar, and then when the match starts, they move towards the priority line to the finish line to take their turn. That's what always happens. So let's put this back at, say, 300, just so we are all clear. So in this case, the highest enemy unit has 300 speed, your highest character has 300 speed, right? So you both have an initial priority of 100%. Your minimum rolls is on this -5%, so the minimum roll that you can get on your priority bar is actually 95%. Your maximum roll is 100%. Now 100% means that you got to the end of the bar. It's actually a lot more than 100%, but it caps at 100% because there's an end to the bar, right? You can't get beyond the end of the finish line, so it always caps at 100%, right? In this case, your RNG's factor is 5%, right? So this is the amount of variance that is given. At 300 speed, the chances that, assuming your opponent has also 300 speed, the chances that you get to the finish line, the RNG involved, and by the way, if you guys don't know what RNG is, that's the random gods, right? So that's the randomness that's involved with priority and or anything in general, right? The randomness factor, the inconsistency is about 5%. So it's the times that you won't reach the finish line. Jeez, I'm explaining this horribly. Let me move on to the next part, because I feel like it's pretty hard to explain, and I'm pretty sure you guys understand what I'm saying, right? Because I'm gonna go in circles, and it's like past 12 p.m. now, right? Okay, all right. Now that we figured that out, a character, this is where speed tuning comes in. If your fastest character is 300 and they could have initial priority of 100%, and their minimum roll is 95%, max roll being 100%. If your second character, maybe a bridge or something, is at 290 speed, you'll notice that their initial roll is 97%. Sorry about that. You'll notice that their initial roll is 97%. So this is what they are likely to roll as. So initial priority is what is more likely for them to roll, and then there's a -2% chance that they roll down and a 5% chance that they roll up. And then if they roll up, they have a 9% variance on how far they can roll. If they roll down, they have a 5% variance on how far down they can roll, right? Cool. Now, if the 290 rolls down, they then have the minimum priority, starting priority of 92%. If they roll up, they have 100%. Now, do you see the issue? That means now if your 300 speed character rolls down anyway, not even max, right? So, because remember, this is 100%. So this has a full 5% more than the minimum priority. So this could be at any roll, right? So if your second character rolls up while your first character rolls down, your first character will overtake the first character. This is how you see characters who have lower speed go before characters who have higher speeds. It's this section here. One is rolling up to the 100% and one is rolling down to the 95%, right? But in this case, even if this character doesn't roll up and it rolls its irregular priority, just the initial priority that it has at base, but the top one rolls down, this character will still go before this first character, because you'll notice that the initial priority and the maximum priority are both higher than the minimum priority of this roll. So the moment that this first character here starts rolling down, this second character can overtake at any given point. Now, say we change this from 290 to say 280 speed. All of a sudden, the max roll is 100, but then now the minimum roll and the initial roll are both lower than the minimum priority roll, which means that there's less of a chance now that your second character will actually overtake the first one. But it's still there, it still exists, right? It's still here, right? So you're still leaving this one block of chance that it's possible, but this is a much safer bet than the other variation. And you'll notice that this one is at a 12% RNG's roll, while at 290 you were sitting on 8%, right? So here you were sitting on 8% roll, and in this case, when the numbers get smaller and smaller, the higher the chance that this second character will actually overtake the first character. The bigger the number gets, the less of the chance, so the better you are actually. So let's say this is at 280 as your second character. This is pretty good. Let's say your third character is sitting at 263, or just a clean number, 260. Again, you'll see that the max roll is 96, and that is higher than both of these values here. So it can roll forward, but only at the max roll can it do that. It can only roll forward at the max roll, because as you will notice, the initial roll and the minimum priority roll are both less than this initial and this minimum. So, and it's very rare to have this roll up. It could roll up, but rolling up by a full maximum 9%, I mean, it's unlikely. And even so, even if it does, more often than not, because this initial roll is 93 with the 5% chance to roll up, it will roll up. But it can happen. It can happen. But this is about as good as you're gonna get it. I mean, unless you go down to about maybe the 250, where you have this at 92 in this case, right? In this case, you are below and you will never really overtake. So 250 is like a safe spot, but you'll notice that your RNG's factor is still 14%, because that's actually the maximum that it can get to, which means that having your character at the max of say 260 here, right, which is this mid-speed damage dealer, right, over here at that 260 max, you're still at the 14%. So that's why you can max it all the way out. Now obviously, if you play in that middle ground, you're still there, but now you're still clean, right? So that's the point. You're still like at that 260, 270, but now you're coming into that speed contesting spot. As soon as you get to 270, all of a sudden things start to change a little bit. Now you have a situation where you're much closer to being able to overtake much quicker now, because your high roll takes you all the way up, while the low rolls or your initial rolls are much closer. I mean, your initial rolls are higher than the minimum rolls. This maximum roll is higher than the minimum roll, right? So now you have two spots that are higher than the minimum roll, which increases your chances of actually what's this thing, outspeeding the second unit. Oh man, I hope that was not too much. It sounds a lot when I even say it myself, right? So if I was editing the video, I'd probably cut down a lot of that, but I'm not gonna edit anything. I'm tired. I'm not gonna edit anything, and I actually think this is quite a lot of good value in the video itself. So it's good. I think it's good. Obviously at 240, we can actually use this and say, let's look at the 160 speeds. These are neither here nor there, because they will never outspeed, but it's good to just look at them, because you'll also notice that the RNG factor doesn't change, because that's just the variance between this section and this section, right? So you'll have like their maximum priority roll would be 62%, minimum roll would be 48%, initial priority would be 53. The only real reason you may want to look at something like this is if you want to figure out how much priority increase they need for them to go first. For instance, at 160, you can't really go from 62 to 100 even with a 20% priority boost, right? However, at 200, right, at 200 speed, where you're a slow bruiser, slow tank, at 76 max roll, with a 20% speed boost, you get pretty damn close, right? You get to 96% what's this thing here, priority boost. But even then, the thing about this sort of stuff is that you can never really boost this character to take a turn immediately. That's the thing you need to remember. But you could probably boost them to be faster than another character. Really, the characters, as we mentioned, that get boosted up are the ones in the 240 to 260, because around 240, 260, you're sitting at 87. So right, so that's we pop all the way. At 240, you're sitting at 80% on the initial roll. That can pop you to 100 with the 20% boost. 75 at the minimum roll. This is the only time you won't get to 100. But again, that makes sense. It's at the low end, right? That's a minimum roll. It's unfortunate, but that's what it is. Right, but that's kind of the general gist of everything. I don't want to beat a dead horse too much. I think you guys understand kind of like what we are talking about when we're talking about speed in generations. By the way, guys, the way you do this, if you want to calculate any of this initial priority, just so if you want to check my math, right? If you want to check my math, you can just effectively say, right, so this is this section, your unit speed divided by the maximum speed, basically in this, whatever the maximum speed is, right? And the percentage value of that would give you the initial priority, right? The minimum priority, naturally, it would be the speed, and then just adding the variance, which is the -5, obviously. So you're basically just minusing 5%. And again, here is the basically, this is just a basic if statement where we're just saying, well, I'm not going to explain the math. This is the equation, but because I think we were sitting on 30 minutes, but basically this is the equation, and that's going to get you your maximum priority speed. But you can also do it a little easier than this as well, but that's neither here nor there. All right, cool. 30 minutes in. I think we've had a lot to absorb, and it, yeah, you guys, I can already feel the pain. Even the music stopped. Let me bring back the music, and then hopefully we can get some PvP action going, because I can tell this is long. Even I have no idea what we're still talking about anymore. I promise, if you guys do want more bite-sized versions, let me know in the comments and I will make bite-sized versions. But for now, I'd rather do a one-size-fits-all type of situation, and I'm not entirely sure how things are going there, but it's gonna be what it is. All right, cool. Let's do just one or two matches quickly here. I'll show you guys my defense team at the moment. It's not a good one. I'm testing out the win rate for Mene. I just want to see basically what the win rate looks like, and I'm testing out all three of these at the same time, right? So far it seems fairly decent-ish. I mean, it's winning. I can't really tell whether it's doing good or not, but I mean, it's hard to say. I'm still testing it. I need to see what the win rate percentage is, but it's holding up, but I am getting a lot of losses here. But anyway, let's do heal free. Okay, let's attack this dude. Let me see. Yeah, we can go ahead and attack this guy. So attacking this guy, clearly we just need a lot of damage. So again, I will let me just attack this guy. I do want to switch teams as well, because I think I used this team in the last video as well. However, oh, let me see something. Oh, that's unfortunate. There's a bit of a screen glitch on my system here. Get past the screen glitch. Apologies about that. It's technical difficulties. They're bound to happen. Let's just quickly break this. Speed tuning ensures that you can always get your combo 90% of the time, 80% of the time, the way you want to get your combo. You're not getting into a situation where what's this thing? You're not getting into a situation. Oh, that's a lot of damage. These guys are very tanky. These guys are very tanky. Oh, if I don't kill Saren, I should have attacked Saren. I should have attacked Saren. Oh, I didn't think about it. I should have attacked Saren, but she could have revived anyway. Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's bad. I mean, we have damage mitigation. So we're still good. It's just that right now, the Saren, the combination, that's full HP, and I lost all my damage except for Ren. I still have Ren, but I lost everybody else, but they have damage mitigation, so they should be fine. There's counters here. Let's extend the buffs quickly. This is an interesting fight. This is normally they would be dead, but because of the Pulse of Mighty, where everybody starts getting 30% increased HP in the arena, they're not dead, right? So normally though, that's enough damage to kill them. So okay, now that's no, I lose. Unfortunately, I lose this one. It is what it is. I should have thought about it a little bit more at the beginning. All I can do That's too big of a shield to take down with this. I can kill Veronica, but I'm just gonna quit this match quickly. Let's just kill Veronica for the road. Just quick kill for the road. All right, there we go. We know she's down. She's down for the count. It is what it is. I lost that one. Cool. All right, so basically, because of the buff that's there, they have slightly more HP than usual, which is unfortunate. I still don't want to fight. Alice is just an annoying character to fight. But what you can do is let's actually fight her. Let's fight her. So what you can do for Alice, just to over here, what we want to counter is Alice. We want to counter the Veronica, and then this here we just want to have damage mitigation to kind of just stop this, because this is a cleave. This is a cleave, and then this is anti-cleave. All right, so what we want to do is want to do something like this, right? This will counter these two will counter the debuff units, right? You don't want to have any buffs on your team because of the unbuffable that you're going to get. And then what you want to run in this particular case, we can actually run Mene. We can actually run Mene. Might as well use her. I wouldn't. We could run her, a Veronica, for some damage mitigation, but she's obviously not gonna go before. She's not gonna go before the Ren here naturally. But yeah, this should be good. We should be tanky enough that we don't die immediately, right? So let's go at it like that. Let's see how we're going. 37. This will be the last one, guys, win or lose. The video is getting long, and I just wanted it to end with at least some gameplay to reward everybody for sitting through that massive long priority stuff, you know. Boom. We get to the counter. 16k, not bad. Heal up, and then she goes first, and then we're just gonna clean up. Okay, and then we can just kill off the rest. So the unbuffable from Alice is pretty useless. It's like a full cleave team. You just put some buffing units and you just kill it. Oh, this actually was quick. This would be the last one. I think we're just gonna call it unless we see something that's a nice little example to show. Let me just see something here. Is there a nice example to show here? No, this just wants heavy damage, but we're not in a meta where you can just go heavy damage and be okay with it. You need to be able to survive a little bit as well, and if you're not able to kill Leo, you're just gonna have a bad time. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I think I did all these. I'll do the rest of these offline, but thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys learned something from this video. I know it was a long one, and if you guys watched until the end, you guys are absolute champions, man. Absolute champions, and I really appreciate you guys. And hey, if you stayed till to the end like this, I mean, maybe consider subscribing, because obviously you fucks with me, dog. You know what I mean? So I feel like at least maybe hit the subscribe and maybe the notification bell, and then just let me know you're there, and I'm gonna say what's up, and we can keep it moving. I appreciate everybody who made it to the end of this video. I hope this helped, and if somebody could be an absolute champ and put some timestamps in the comments for the people, that would be great. I'll try to do it when I have some time, if I remember, but if somebody can do it, that'll be fantastic. Much appreciated. I'll make sure I'll pin it to the top so that everybody can use it. I say to the top, but the amount of comments are going to be very slow because I'm just coming back to YouTube now. But I mean, you never know down the line, you know, there may be a lot more comments. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys, and hope you guys are going to have a great day, great evening, and good luck. Fantastic. Peace out.